What's up, my good peoples? Welcome to the Be Transformed podcast, where we're talking about ideas to stimulate wholesome thinking into identity, purpose, vision, and action. I am James Anderson, and with me is Logan Eaton, my good bro. What's happening?
Not much. Just hanging out.
Just hanging.
Hanging around. Loitering.
Nice. Like at a Taco Bell parking lot?
Yeah, I almost got charged for loitering at a Wendy's or a Dairy Queen.
You were waiting to get another smoothie?
Apparently you can't stand outside very long in those places.
Oh my gosh. They got those signs.
Yeah. It had only been a couple hours, but a few hours.
When I was in Australia, they had bridges over train tracks, and there was one not too far from where I was staying, and I don't even know why. I was just hanging out there, and it was nice because there was a breeze that went through the train track, because I don't know, there was stuff on either side.
The bridge was over the train track?
Yeah, there was a walking bridge that went over the train track.
Oh, okay.
And so I was standing on the bridge just hanging out.
Oh,
and there
okay.
was a breeze that would go through that kept all the mosquitoes away, so I was just kind of hanging out there. Apparently I was hanging out there too long because the Metro Police came by, and they were like, they're just seeing what's going on. There's like the lady, somebody who was ever watching the cameras was afraid I was going to jump or something.
Can't even enjoy the breeze in public
man,
anymore.
you guys must get all kinds of crazy calls, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, if you're not paying for the breeze, get off the bridge. We got taxpayers that built this bridge.
Yeah.
That's extreme. Everybody's got to be worried about something.
Hey, well, it's because people actually do end up on the tracks. That's why.
And you were standing on the ledge like, I'm going to do it.
And, yeah. Maybe I was crying, and maybe I was. No, just kidding. No. Joke.
Yeah, there's a sweet bridge in Van Buren that's the railroad is the bridge, so you can go up on the railroad and walk across the railroad bridge, and there's a way down underneath it. There's a river underneath there, and we would go there and hang out sometimes.
An active train track?
Yeah, we would just sit on the train track bridge, and throw rocks off or just
Like
hang out
trains
there.
use that track?
Yeah, but I mean, you can see them if they're coming down the train, or hear them. And but yeah, that was always our place to go hang out, was on the railroad bridge in the park, on the river park. And one time I was with a friend, and we were walking down that railroad, and on both sides were like thick trees and branches and weeds and stuff, and a train did come, and we had to run to get to the nearest road to where we could get off the thing. But
because it was far down.
Yeah, it sloped way down, but it was just like rocks, and then immediately there was like, you could have went in the weeds and stuff if you had to, but
Pretty close.
yeah, we could. The road was pretty close, so we just ran for the road. But speaking of train tracks,
nobody monitoring that apparently.
no, that was kind of in the wilderness. Yeah,
In the wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I was cleaning up my desk, and I found this paper with quotes on it. It's amazing.
how long ago do you think they were?
What? That I wrote these bad boys?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a John Maxwell quote, so it's been a little bit
yeah.
since I read one of those books. But it went like this. It said, adversity doesn't build character. It reveals it. When you have good character, difficulty only makes you more determined. When your character is weak, difficulty makes you discouraged. Work on your character now. When the storm comes, it's too late to prepare.
Wow,
Whoa.
that's interesting.
Adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it.
Yeah,
Good character makes you more determined in difficulty, where discouragement is a lack of character, saying.
yeah. It kind of
Whoa.
sees how far your roots go down into the ground.
Yeah, well, that's that whole concept of if your strength fails in time of testing or trouble, then how strong was your strength?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Because I've heard characters formed by pressure. I've heard that. I don't know. Yeah, I think I like them revealed though.
Mm.
It was like you were built with character.
Think so? Well, it's learned, but yeah. Yeah.
That's
Pretty fun.
interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting. You were reading a verse. What was that verse?
Yeah, Ezekiel.
Good old Zeke.
One of my favorite books.
That's a good book, man.
It's a little bit different.
What did he tell us about? How'd the beginning start?
Well, the beginning of the book starts with some creatures and fire.
Oh yeah, and then what about the lane? Yeah, yes, it does. That guy had some sick vision.
Yeah.
By sick, I mean sweet.
Yeah. I think at one point he was like traveling in the air to a place.
Lucky duck. Well,
But
I guess after you hear about, well, then what? He had to lay on his side
yeah,
for like
Yeah.
100 and something days,
a lot of time.
and then like 400 days.
He had to cook his food over cow patties and
Yeah, he had to use animal which at first was going to be human refuse,
yeah.
and then God was like, "All right, you can be animal refuse." Had some compassion. Yeah, but he laid on his side and he couldn't get up for like a couple years.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
He couldn't even get up. Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine
No.
Ezekiel's face when God told him, like, you got to cook your food over this stuff? And then he's like, yeah, you know what, you're right. That's not a good idea. Cook it over. Ezekiel's just jaw drops, and he's like, yeah, you're right. That's not a good idea.
He's like, but it'll be convenient. It's right there.
But I think they used to do that. Like that cow patties was a fuel at one point.
Flammable.
Yeah,
It's
and
dry.
Indians used to use it as fuel, I think. And that is a serious science fact. Not making that,
but just a modest science.
That's not a modest science fact. That is a legit serious
That's
fact.
legit serious.
I think
I
early
think
days.
I'm positive.
you used to light them on fire, and that was what you cooked with.
Ah,
So that doesn't seem too extreme, but
okay. Seems a little
Um,
gross, but guess if it's flammable,
yeah,
it'll
I
cook
think
your
so.
food.
Methane, it's always flammable.
So they say.
But yeah, this section is in Ezekiel 12, and I'll just read it. It's verse 21. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, what is this proverb you have in the land of Israel? The days go by, and every vision comes to nothing. Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says, I'm going to put an end to this proverb, and they will no longer quote it in Israel. Say to them, the days are near when every vision will be fulfilled, for there will be no more false visions or flattering divinations among the people of Israel. But I, the Lord, will speak what I will, and it shall be fulfilled without delay. That's through 25. Just interesting stuff. It seems
Yeah.
like there was an attitude, like we were talking about, there was an attitude of like, is apathy maybe a good word? I don't know. Like where you're just like, we don't really,
Doubt,
doubt. We don't really care about what happens.
fed up.
Where yet the days go by and every vision comes to nothing, where it's like, nobody knows what the truth is. Nobody cares anymore. So God told Ezekiel to say to them, like, they're going to find out really fast that proverb is false, that everything that I've said is going to come true, and it's going to be done without delay. So I think it's just a good reminder to be like, be careful what you listen to when things don't seem to be working out or things seem to be going slow. Just remember that things will be fulfilled. And if people are saying like, that doesn't really matter, that you shouldn't care about that or whatever, like the truth, what God said, the truth is going to stand regardless of what other people say. Like, why do you believe that, or why do you stand for that, or blah, blah, blah. But, just a good reminder that God fulfills his word, and the good things that he declares are going to happen, and he doesn't delay, he doesn't show up late. So just be careful about the secular attitude, the attitude of the world, because it might, I don't know, it seems easy sometimes to just be like, yeah, I don't care anymore, I give up.
Yeah.
And there's too much bad things going on, there's too much doubt, whatever. It's easy to say, yeah, the days go by, all my visions have come to nothing, so whatever, I'm done. But you just want to be careful of those attitudes, and then remember that like God doesn't show up late, and that and a lot of stuff that God gives us the power to do, to go look for stuff, to go change an environment that needs changed.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're going to talk about, right?
Yeah.
If we segue.
Yeah. Whoa. Is that like one of those scooters?
Yeah.
Segway?
You ever ride one of those?
No.
I haven't either.
I wish.
Yeah.
They look fun.
I haven't rode a scooter in a long time.
Like
That's
push
a serious fact.
That's a modest fact.
Yeah. Ever since my motorized cart blew a spark plug.
Blew right out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me think of who can remember where it is anymore, but maybe it's in Isaiah 12 or something, 10, or who remembers. But it goes to the tune of this. It says, I am God and there is no other. I make known the end from the beginning. Yeah, and just like talking about, I will fulfill all my words and I do what I please.
Yeah.
And yeah, just in line with what you were talking about forgetting about what it looks like and getting sold on God's word. Yeah, where who was it? Peter talked about, God's not slow in keeping his promise.
Oh yeah.
A day to him is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, it's just yeah, because the second part of that is like, I think God saying like, I do what I will, and I get it done on time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, frustration, doubt, anxiety, worry, all this stuff can cause that secular attitude of like, yeah, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But sometimes it's worth going out and looking for what's missing. What's missing in the environment? My environment. Your environment.
Oh.
The climate environment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So tonight we're talking a little bit about it's worth the search. The segue. It's worth finding a segue and riding on one. No, but in Luke 15, Jesus talks a little bit about the guy who leaves the 99, looks for the one sheep, and the woman who had 10 coins but lost one, and they went and looked for it. And yeah, so we're just kind of like looking a little bit tonight at this concept of the search. So in Luke 15, the Pharisees and the teachers of the religious law, they're like freaking out. They're like, it just doesn't make any sense why Jesus is hanging out with these tax collectors and sinful people. And so in response, Jesus goes like this, right? He says, if a man had 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go and search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. When he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors, saying, rejoice with me because I found my lost sheep. In the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over the 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Won't she light a lamp, sweep the entire house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she will call her friends and neighbors and say, 'Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost coin.' In the same way, there is joy in the presence of God's angels, even when even one sinner repents." Yeah, I think, those guys are kind of freaking out. They'd be like, "Why would you hang out with these people?" And he's like, "You don't understand. These are my people. Like, these are my people. But they don't know me. So they're never going to know me if I don't go and be with them."
Mm-hmm. That's interesting too.
And so you look at this guy, right? He's got 100 sheep, and 99 of them are exactly where they should be, but one is lost. So he leaves the 99 to go find the one that was lost. In the same way, the woman who had 10 coins, right? She lost one. So she put down the 9 and she went and searched intently until she found the one that was lost. Yeah, I was just kind of looking at this concept of searching, especially in terms of like your people. So like your gifts and your purpose, right? It's a solution to a problem. It's a fulfillment of a need. So when you kind of start discovering this gift and discovering the problem that you solve, at least the genre, right, of direction that you kind of solve, then you kind of find your people. But it can be possible to, like, even though you kind of know the people that have the problem that you want, maybe you don't know, maybe you're having a hard time finding them. And it could be because they're not where you normally go, right? Like the 99 sheep were where they were supposed to be. But the man had to leave the 99. He had to leave the normal habits, the normal behaviors, the normal events, and just the normal way of life. And he went and searched for the one sheep he was looking for. He didn't leave the 99 because the 99 don't have any value. He left because they equally all hold value. It says there's more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over the 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. He's not talking about like you don't have any value because you didn't stray away. He's just talking about there's something that is his that is not where it should be, and I'm going to go retrieve it. And this is what Jesus says in response to like hanging out with these tax collectors and these sinners, if you will. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I guess my initial thought was like the Pharisees, the world will try to persuade you not to go looking for whatever you need to look for, like that. Like I think I can hear like the voices of like, well, you've already got 99 sheep. What's one? You got 9 coins. You can buy a lot of stuff with 9 coins. What's another one? So the world will try to be like, yeah, what are you doing? Why are you spending time? And just like you get those voices of like the Pharisees of like, why are you spending time with these people? You've got all these other people that are following you, or why do you want to go do that when you've got this? Or why do you just with anything? It's just like the world will try to knock you off course with different voices and tactics of like making you question why you're doing something, and make you think like, well, those thoughts of like, yeah, I do have 99 sheep. What is another one? But if the value is equal, there's value in going and looking for whatever that thing that is missing. If the value is equal to, if the one is equal to the 99, then there's value in going and finding that thing, that other piece of the thing that's missing. So yeah, I guess that was just my my initial thought is like the world will try to make it seem like it doesn't make sense to go looking for whatever that thing is that's missing. That's got equal value to what you have now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, even with the thought of like, oh, well, I mean, you still have the 99. Like, take care of the ones that you have. But it's like, no, those ones are good.
Yeah.
Let me go get this other one. And just even in the sense of like value, because like the Pharisees were like, yeah, I don't understand why you're with these people of no value that are evil and do bad things and whatever. Basically, but it's just that concept of like, it's a misjudgment of God's heart to kind of count other people out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's just like, I it's just, so it's like, he's like, no, I'm going to leave you guys and I'm going to go out to these other person, right? He's like, it's the healthy are not the ones who need a doctor. It's the sick.
Yeah.
So why would I hang out with a bunch of healthy people when the solution that I bring necessitates sick people?
Yeah.
So it's like when your gift solves a certain kind of problem, it's geared toward a certain kind of people. And it's possible that your people aren't where you normally go. It's not where the 99 normally are. Maybe it's not where everything's mostly put together in a nice little boxes, right?
Yeah.
It's more like, I got to go somewhere where these people are. You know, where the broken are, where the lost are, where the people who hang out in darkness, right? The people who are stuck in cycles of total and epic suck, these just generations of misuse and abuse and poverty and whatever. It's like, if these are the people that you want to go, that you have a solution for, you gotta go where they are.
Yeah.
You gotta leave what you know, and you got to create some kind of a pipeline to be able to funnel in these people into your life. You got to create new relationships. You got to meet new people. You got to go to places you didn't even know existed, right? You got to research. You got to, because these people looked, man, they're like, they had no idea. This one guy had no idea where the sheep was. So he took off and he looked. Maybe he's looking at the tracks, looking at sheep poop. He's just like, he's looking. The woman had no idea. She lit a lamp so she could see, and she swept the entire house and carefully looked. It's just like, it's worth the search. It's worth the trial and error. It's worth the audacity, that bold risk of like, well, what if I make a fool of myself? Or what if this is the wrong direction? Or what if I commit to something that was wrong? It's like, what if I just go all in and work it out? What if I just jump in, find these people, commit to anything and everything I can, and just, how can I find these people? How can I get in there and start solving some problems? How can I find these people that belong to God and just don't know it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everybody came from God. Everybody came from God, and everybody belongs in God. And the people who don't know it. And these are the people we're after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what you could buy with 9 coins.
Not as much as you could with 10. Tell you that much right now.
How much a coin was worth?
Silver coin. You can buy a Segway.
All I can picture is like those chocolate gold coins that are at the chocolate foil and they're gold.
Yeah, they come in those little nets.
All I can picture her looking for was like a big coin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so on the flip side to this, or not really so much flip side, but laterally speaking, in Luke 12, Jesus was kind of talking about the correct perspective of what life is about. And I think, it kind of talks about responsibility, and just kind of as we're talking about searching and looking. Like these guys knew what they were looking for. Like the guy who lost his sheep was looking for sheep. The woman who was looking for the coin, she knew she was looking for a coin. And in Luke 12, Jesus is kind of talking about the faithful and sensible servant. And it's just this concept of, one, knowing what you've been given responsibility for, and then being diligent in it. But if you're not sure what you're responsible for, if you're not sure what your gifts are, if you're not sure where you should go, if you're not sure what God's will is, what his plan is, what the original intent for mankind, what Jesus has given us to do, or just even the heart of God, it's like, if you're not sure of what to do, then how could you possibly succeed at doing it? And this just kind of lends itself a little bit to it. So in some of Luke 12, it goes a little bit like this. He says, a faithful and sensible servant is one to whom the master can give responsibility of managing his other household servants and feeding them. If the master returns and finds the servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. I tell you the truth, that master will put that servant in charge of all he owns. But what if the servant thinks, my master won't be back for a while? He begins beating the other servants, partying and getting drunk. The master will return unannounced and unexpected, and he will cut that servant in pieces and banish him with the unfaithful. And a servant who knows what the master wants but isn't prepared and doesn't carry out those instructions will be severely punished. But someone who does not know and then does something wrong will be punished only lightly. When someone has been given much, much will be required in return. And when someone has been entrusted with much, even more will be required. It's just this concept of like, the more clear you are about who you are and why you are and where you're going, the more you understand what you're responsible for, and the more you can kind of diligently give yourself to it.
Yeah. There's a responsibility there.
Yeah.
To figure that out. To get clear on like what it is that you can bring to get done. There's a responsibility in making that clear, and then planning to fulfill it and planning to carry it out. I was gonna say something else, but then I forgot. But a lot of people just yeah, my purpose is to, I don't know. I don't want to speak for other people or make anything sound bad, but it's like there's a responsibility to ask yourself those questions of like, well, what is my purpose? What was I built for? What is my natural habitat? What am I good at? How can I help people? What can I do? And get clear on that instead of just being like, yeah, I need a job, so I'll get a job, and then I'll go to church and whatever. And like I think that could be just a lot of negligence. Some negligence there, but there's just a responsibility to figure that out. I think that carries weight. You gotta, that should be a priority on like, what is that? What should I be doing? What can I be doing? And get really clear on it. Because you can't plan and carry out things if you don't know what to plan for, what to work towards, or what to do.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, it begins with understanding who you are, because it's like from the place of identity flows purpose and vision. And
you can't. Yeah, if you don't have a good understanding of who you are, what your gifts are, how you think and how you operate, and what you like, what you dislike, and all that stuff, you'll always be living in like the grayish area and not really knowing.
Yeah, because even like understanding like who God is, like a misconception of who God is will give you a misconception of who you are, and that'll flow into everything you do.
Yeah.
And it's like, but having the correct perspective of who God is, and then getting into what we're called to do as sons and daughters of God, of the King, right? It's massive, right? Because so in this parable, yeah, he's talking about the faithful servant is the one that the master can put in charge of the other servants and feed them, manage them and feed them. All right, well, one guy does it, but he's like, well, what if the other guy doesn't? What if he does it for a little bit, but then he's like, dude, this master's not coming back for a long time. So he just kind of like, the vision, right? The whole vision concept of like, is this guy even coming back? Is anything he said actually true? Like, does any of this even freaking matter? Nothing's working out. Nothing, whatever. It's like, man, this guy ain't coming back, and I have the keys. I got the keys to do whatever I want. And so he starts beating the servants. He starts drinking and getting drunk, and he's pretending like he's the master.
Mm.
Right? And it's fine for him for a little while, but he forgets that there's a time coming where the master will actually return, and then that guy will have to give an account for what he did and what he didn't do. And it's like this guy was given resources to fulfill his job, to fulfill his assignment. But instead of using them with focus and diligence and care, right, he used them on himself.
Yeah.
What did it said? It says, when someone has been given much, much will be required in return. And when someone has been entrusted with much, even more will be required. But I was thinking about this part that says, a servant who knows what his master wants, but isn't prepared and doesn't carry out those instructions will be severely punished. But I was thinking about this in like the flip side of it, all right? Like, because that's, well, whatever. I was just thinking about it on the flip side. It's like, so a servant who knows what his master wants, right? When you know what you're supposed to do, like, you can give your whole self to it, right? Paul told Timothy, he's like, laid out these gifts. He's like, give yourself wholly to them and let everybody see your progress, right? Because by doing these things, like, you'll save not only yourself, but your hearers as well. Just this concept of like giving your whole self over to like the kingdom purpose. That everything you do, whether you work a job, raise your kids, whatever it is, it's on purpose. And there's a greater purpose. And there's things that we're responsible for more than just, more than just what's sitting right in front of you. And, but yeah, so the servant who knows what the master wants gets diligent, right? And prepares to carry out those instructions and then succeeds in all they do. And it's just this idea that there's people, I don't know, man, there's people perishing. There's people who God is very interested in encountering. And it's like some of this stuff happens through what we do. Yeah, man, you hear stories of God showing up, like Jesus appearing to like a Muslim woman or something. And, you hear stories like this, and heck yeah, it's legit.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that doesn't negate the responsibility that we hold to represent God. Like, we are the representatives, meaning like what we do affects whether he's represented or not. And how we do what we do determines whether or not he's represented in his true image or not. But it's just like there's this weighty, not like in fear, but there's just like this weighty responsibility that is beautiful because it speaks to our value. It speaks to purpose. It speaks to that we're not mindless robots. We're not weak and broken. We're agents of change. We're ambassadors who know God and represent him like people who actually know him. There was something, man. I just read it in Luke. It was Jesus was walking by, and there's this blind guy sitting on the road, and there's this big commotion, because all these people are following him, and the blind guy is like, "Hey, man, ask people next to him. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, "Oh, Jesus is coming." He's like, "Oh my gosh!" And he just starts shouting. He's like, "Jesus, Jesus!" And everybody's like, "Dude, shut up!" He's like, "Don't bother him." And he's just like all the louder. He's like, "Son of David," and Jesus stops and says, "What can I do for you?" He says, "I want to see." And he says, "Then have it. Like, your faith has healed you." I was just thinking how sexy that is. Like, here's this guy, born blind, all of a sudden encounters Jesus, and he's just like, "What can I do for you?" "I want to see." And the dude can see.
Yeah.
That's intense, man.
Yeah.
You want to talk about changing somebody's life. It's just like, all of a sudden, what do you want? "I want to see."
Yeah.
Then have it. Your faith has healed you.
Wow.
Boom. I was like, that's the kingdom on earth.
Yeah.
I was like, that's solving real world problems with kingdom solutions. That's like, that's
Sure.
bam. What do you want? "I want to see." Have it.
Yeah. Yeah. And have it. Yeah.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
I don't want a false picture of Jesus in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't want to wake up in the morning and think something incorrect. I don't want to look at myself and see myself in a light that Jesus doesn't see me. I want to walk around with the image of God who's like, "What do you want?" He said, "I want to see." He's like, "Then have it." Bam.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah. So the more we understand this concept of responsibility and what we're responsible, the more we can get into focus and attention and discipline, right? The more we can give ourselves wholly to it and progress and become epic, right? The potential that's inside of us to manifest the kingdom of heaven is there for the explicit purpose of being realized. Get so dialed in on what your gifts are and where to point them, and then with never-ending creativity, display the true glory of God. My good peoples, until next time.